This is Brian Mayer, host of Hot Sauce Weekly, and you are listening to BCRN, all barbecue and grilling all the time.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the really big Barbecue Central show. This is the show that talks about all things that are important to the world of barbecue and grilling. This show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evenings, a live fire fun and frivolity show. If you would like to get in contact with the show this evening, or you would like to follow the show during off-show hours, here's how you do all that.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening on the show this evening, because it is the second Tuesday of a new quarter, ending quarter, whatever. We have our pal, the official cigar expert of the Barbecue Central show, or should I say officially unofficial, but let's say official, Mr. J from the Cigar Authority podcast and Two Guys Smoke Shop in New Hampshire is set to join us. We are going to be talking about what's smoking good in the shop. We're going to be talking about what you should be spending your money on in the shop, or if you are around a purveyor of fine leaf. And then we will be diving deep into a very talked about part of the cigar. We've touched on it cursorily over the life of Mr. J and I getting together on the show, but we're going to be diving deep into the wrapper this evening. We're going to be dispelling myths. We're going to be talking truths. We're going to be making a lot of stuff up and hoping you believe it. Actually, we're not going to be doing any of that last part. But we are going to be answering all of the toughest questions, all of the misconceptions that are out there in the premium cigar world, things that you hear on the message boards and the Facebooks. And we hope to set you straight here this evening. Then, 35 past the first hour, we'll move to our monthly guest of the second Tuesday, that being our pal Robert Moss. So when you're putting Mr. J's cigar knowledge and Robert Moss's barbecue historical knowledge together, we have a powder keg of information and smarts, the like rarely seen on any kind of podcast covering any genre, niche, and or otherwise. Dare I call it the second Tuesday of the month, Power Hour, when we find Mr. J and Robert Moss stacked together. Robert and I are going to be digging into the history of mustard-based barbecue sauce. I've gotten a lot of emails over the last number of weeks talking about mustard-based barbecue sauce, a number of which were specifically asking me, when is that mustard-based barbecue sauce that you always used to talk about going to be coming back on the market? I do have an update on that as well, and that will bring a close to the first hour. Then we will move to the second hour. It was 35 past the first hour, but my 14 past the second hour guest had to cancel. It's raining really hard, here in Cleveland, and I'll take the rain over the snow because it'll be snowing for the next 7 months here before we know it. He is a proprietor of a barbecue restaurant that I hope to visit, and shame on me for not getting out there and visiting yet. He's been open for years. Sweet Pork Wilson's proprietor, Jason Brooks, was set to join us, but his place is leaking, so he can't show up for the show this evening. We will rebook. And if I play my cards correctly, and you know me, that's not going to happen. But I'm really going to try to get to his establishment to try the various foods. There's a smoked steak I've been hearing a lot about, but then there is also the traditional barbecue fare. It's very rare in the city of Cleveland. Do we have professional sports teams? Yes. Do we have an eclectic and diverse food base? Yes. Would I say that Cleveland is the most traveled to food destination in between New York and Chicago? Yes. Cleveland is very important to the food scene, has been very important to the food history scene for decades and decades, if not forever, in the beginning of food. But it's hard to find a really great barbecue restaurant that can also stand the test of time. Michael Simon has certainly done it with Mabel's Barbecue. I would say Barbecue Smokehouse in Parma was standing to that task as well, but maybe a month ago, Danny had to pause business, do a rethink, and we might see it again down the road, but it's certainly not open at this stage of the game. So, and then there's a lot of shit barbecue in Cleveland like there's shit barbecue everywhere else. But to stand above the shit, it's hard here in Cleveland to do. It's not great barbecue weather all the time. A lot of restaurants want to hold to the traditional restaurant times, serving through dinner, all that fun stuff. So it doesn't make for a successful fit most of the time here in the barbecue world. And Sweet Pork Wilson's has been able to, at this point, stave off elimination like so many have succumbed to here in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city. So we'll look to rebook Jason Brooks down the road. However, coming in out of 1035 and landing in the 1014, if you're watching Food Network's Pitmasters, you've seen them and they're still on the show. It's Connie, DeSousa, and John Jackson. Not to be considered with Joe Jackson, who wrote the great song Steppin' Out. And you can't get what you want if you can't get what you know that, Joe Jackson. But this is John Jackson, probably no relation. They are both Canadian. I don't believe Joe Jackson is Canadian, but I don't know that for sure. Maybe that's a question we can ask. So all of that is setting up here this evening. A Mr. J, a Robert Moss Power Hour first hour, and a Connie DeSousa, John Jackson second hour if you need us. And you can follow us, of course, socially on TikTok and Twitter and Facebook and all of these other nonsensical things that I'm never very good at. What the hell happened there? Oh, that was probably a cat. So Snapchat, LinkedIn, blah, blah, blah. At BBQ Central Show is where you need to go for all of that. And, of course, we welcome in all of the YouTube and the Facebook watchers. Those folks can be found at where the fuck are we going? Facebook.com/BBQ Central Show, or watch on YouTube, which is YouTube.com/@BBQ Central Show. We have a new YouTube poll question of the week, and I'm apologizing in advance, but it was spawned off of this past Friday's Best Moments show. And the question sounds like this: if I gave you $5 million to have sex with a cow covered in jelly, would you do it? And currently, 71% of you are saying no. $5 million is not enough to have sex with a cow covered in jelly. But that means 29% of you think it is worth it. By the way, no one is finding out if you're doing that or not. I'm just letting you know that is an option. So let me get this ready. So much like, 2, 3, 4 shows ago, I had an opening ready to go, but then the rub jumped to the open. I had a recap of This Week in Barbecue when I was down in Atlanta last week, but something else has jumped the open, and I have to get to it expressly. If you haven't seen the social media clip, you're missing out. It's from QVC. Let me cue it up here. And all I can say is this is maybe the best thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
I love to show the texture and this wave pattern. Again, it looks like you went and got a blow job at your blowout at your salon. Oh my God. And it looks beautiful.
All right, so here's what's happening today.
That just happened on live TV, by the way.
We're having a huge beauty sale. Everything ships to you for free, but that goes
Watch her.
away at the end of the day. I will remind you that this is
away she
a
goes.
one-time only price, where the price goes up at the end of the show, not the end of the day. So we're going to save you $10 plus the free shipping and handling.
All right, honey. I don't know if there's anything better than that in recent TV blooper memory. I like to think I'm a pretty good orator. I don't know if I would get those two phrases mixed up, but she sure did. She was subsequently on Jimmy Fallon a couple days later. I'm not sure exactly when this took place, 4 days ago, something like that. She was on Jimmy Fallon's show. Great sport. Look, if she was an employee of Tony Bracken or whatever the hell her name is, Wiggs, she might be fired. She owns the company, so it's cute, and she can get away with it. I do that on a YouTube video or a TikTok video for Ohio Peterbilt, I might be getting fired. No matter the mistake. By the way, major congratulations and kudos and all of the other positive adjectives and descriptors to QVC for posting it. Brass balls. Like, they understand true social media right there. If QVC is posting a lady saying blowjob, they understand social media. Good for you. Wow. All right, before we get to Mr. J, let's talk about the best ceramic cooker on the market. Primo Grills. That's right. Who needs a blowjob when you can get a sweet Primo grill, a ceramic cooker that is oval in shape? It's changing the world of ceramic cookers. You can do 2-zone fire setups. You know you desire that. Also giving you all of the other ceramic grill benefits as well. It heats and holds heat forever. It's fuel efficient because of that heat holding capability. Many different accessories to complete that Primo cooking experience, but only sold through dealers, so find the dealer near you, primogrill.com. Here's the bottom line. Best ceramics in the biz and patented technology. Yes, true 2-zone cooking capabilities with multiple sizes of ovals. Yes. Do they have a round one? Yes, but don't do that. Get an oval. Visit primogrill.com for a dealer near you. And don't forget to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. If we have enough time and you're lucky, I will replay that Instagram clip. We're back with Mr. J, who's going to be telling us all about cigars and specifically wrappers, amongst other things. Stick around.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. We are shot out of a cannon here this evening, and it only promises to get better. Because my first guest tonight is a well-known figure in the cigar community, one of the co-hosts of the very popular, if not the most popular, Cigar Authority podcast. Making his third quarterly appearance of 2026 to talk about the latest news, trends, and other things in the cigar industry is the Barbecue Central Show's very own officially unofficial official cigar expert. Mr. Jonathan is joining the show. Hey, Mr. J.
Hey, what's happening?
I mean, we love the cowboy hat and red glasses. See, we've done both things. So paying it forward to our second hour guests, and you're just going to have to wait and see because Mr. Jonathan got to secretly sit through a sound check of our second hour guests and has picked up on all of the right nuance. So I certainly appreciate that.
My pleasure. Always looking to help. By the way, that clip you played, I haven't seen anything that good since Paul Lynde used to be on Hollywood Squares. But he did it on purpose. His double entendre was intentional.
Yeah. This was just totally off the cuff.
Oh, great. It was great.
YouTube poll question of the week, Mr. J, because I know you're just dying to answer. If I gave you $5 million to have sex with a cow covered in jelly, would you do it?
I'm going to be part of the minority on this one. I think $5 million, and I could retire.
Yes, that is a large amount of money, literally, if you're going to be doing that.
And
so 27% are voting with you that they will have sex with a jelly-covered cow for $5 million.
I'm pro-bovine.
In all of the ways possible at this point. Now, if we could only make it happen, we could put some people to the real test, but we'll take your word for it. Mr. J, what is smoking well in the store these days?
Well, I brought a new one here, the DBL Ricky Taki. We smoked this on the show with Francisco Almonte a couple weeks back, and he gave us one for the second hour. We smoked it. Really great. We ordered them. They're selling like hotcakes. It's really a remarkable cigar. You got Crux Marblehead Maduro, which is fairly new. Another new one by the folks at HVC, the La Decoracion. And I've been digging on Abuelo Nieta. It's a great size, perfect 40-minute smoke. So that's what's been in my rotation as of late.
What is the actual dimension of a Nieta? Is that a 4-inch by 52 or 48, or is it a 60?
It is, I believe it's 4.5 by 44, and it's double figurado. It's shaped on both ends.
Oh, yes. I'm still trying to get over that bigotry of the figurado, but I can't seem to push past it. But I keep trying. Before we
flavor
get into
changes, man, you got to think about the flavor changes.
I know, you tell me all the time, and I just can't get over the fact that it just so. Not to diverge, but I was with a customer today for the day job. We were talking about Peterbilt. My boss said he thought I screwed up one of my customer's trucks because he got a 589 short hood instead of the Peterbilt long hood. And then that caused me to think, well, did I really screw up the order here? I went back through, double-checked, and I still felt unsure, so I delivered the truck to the customer. We were talking. He's like, no, I wanted the short hood, blah, blah, blah. And I said, the long hood, the short hood to me commands attention, and the long hood to me goes, hey, look at me. It's like a big D contest. You don't need it. It's all for show. Technically, you don't really need the short hood either. But to me, it's the very slim difference between gets attention and look at me type of attention. That's what I feel the figurado is.
See, I feel like if you're a smoker that is smoking for flavor and flavor transitions, you're going to go figurado because most people are freaked out because they don't know where to cut on a torpedo.
Yes, of course.
And they're a little freaked out because figurados, especially double figurados, they don't burn all that well right at the beginning. They require a little bit of attention at the start. You have to rotate the cigar, which is something we covered on the show. If you ever have a cigar that is not boating well, it most likely is because you are keeping it stagnant. So the smoke chokes out the ember at the top of the cigar, and the oxygen feeds the bottom of the cigar, and you end up with a run that goes down the bottom. So if every time you take a puff, you rotate your cigar, you're choking out the ember on a different side, and you can do that with a figurado, and you'll get a perfect burn.
I've rotated my cigars here for the last couple of years, and I've noticed that rarely Do I have any kind of a need to touch up, or that it's not catching up at some point? Maybe it's not burning evenly all the way, but at some point that thing kind of all works itself out, and away we go. HVC, underappreciated brand or good?
He's up and coming. He's just around
him.
his 10-year mark, which is where you become an overnight sensation in the cigar world. It takes about a decade to really get enough penetration in the 4,000 cigar shops in the country. And he's done that, and he's starting to become one of those just a little bit past geek stick. He was truly a geek stick for the last maybe 5 years, where only you smoked it if you knew about it. And now it's not Padron level, but he's early Perdomo level.
I'm a huge fan of hotcakes.
Me too.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about wrapper. That's the subject that we're covering here tonight in its most in-depth form here, at least on this show. What is basic formula for figuring out how much the wrapper on a cigar is actually costing?
So tobacco buyers base it on the 1,000 cigars they're going to make for a given size. So you're going to take your wrapper cost per cigar is the true wrapper price per pound multiplied by the pounds of wrapper used to make 1,000 cigars divided by 1,000. So if you take your dollars per pound, multiply it by pounds per 1,000, and that total spread across 1,000 cigars is your cost for each stick. Now, when I say true wrapper, there's different wrappers perform differently as far as damage, and we'll get a little deeper into some of those more nuanced part of the conversation later. But certain wrappers like Sumatra have a very high yield as far as wrapper goes, so they have a lower cost per cigar, and that's why a lot of manufacturers gravitate towards Sumatra right now.
So if I listen to the model or the algorithm you're using, or there's a better word that I can't think of, the formula for how to get the price of this wrapper, it sounds like the price per pound doesn't tell the whole story when it comes to the actual wrapper cost.
It's only half the equation. So some wrappers really do stretch a long way, like I was saying earlier, and they use fewer pounds per 1,000. Others are thick, or they're inefficient, or they require so much fermentation that they break down to a point, or the manufacturer requires a certain level of aging in those pilones, and the wrappers break down. So the longer it takes from when you pick the seed to when you are ready to apply it to the cigar, the more damage you're going to have, effectively raising the price per wrapper.
So this is almost like, I'm going to try and draw a barbecue relation here. So when you're starting out with raw weight of the brisket or raw weight of the pork butt, and then through the cook, eventually you lose 30-40% of that weight. So you're only yielding a much less amount of meat that you're actually turning around being able to sell, something along those lines.
Correct. 100% correct.
So how much do cigar makers typically pay per pound for a premium leaf, wrapper leaf?
So at a premium level, you're going to get in the ballpark of $25 to $45 a pound, and sometimes a little bit more if you're getting specialty leaf. And then on top of that, they usually burn through somewhere between 6 and 10 pounds of wrapper to produce 1,000 cigars. And that usage range is kind of where the math starts to math a little harder.
All right. So if we choose a specific wrapper, let's say, I mean, here all the time, everybody's a huge Connecticut broadleaf fan, often one of the most expensive wrappers in practice.
So what's interesting about Connecticut broadleaf is on paper, it looks like it's very inexpensive, and that often attracts new manufacturers to it because they're buying it for $20 to $30 a pound. And then depending on quality, yield, texture, it's a lot lower than a shade-grown wrapper grown in the same region by a half. So it's incredibly inefficient. It's thick. It requires heavy fermentation. It takes a lot of work, and a lot of the leaf never makes it to wrapper grade. So you start to see them used as binders, as fillers. So you need many more pounds to wrap 1,000 cigars when you factor in all that low yield and the extra pounds used. So it's very easy for it to end up being the most expensive wrapper per finished cigar.
Has there been any study done that shows that X percent of Connecticut broadleaf wrapper actually makes it to the outside of the cigar?
Not really, because it really is manufacturer dependent. So someone like Rainier Lorenzo, who's a hungry young guy, and he really has to stretch the amount of cigars that he can get out of, his allotment of Connecticut broadleaf wrapper for his it's HVC fresh out of the oven was the latest release he did with it. So he tends to work that wrapper a little bit, and the wrappers he's using mostly high quality, but some of them I noticed got a little ugly. You do end up with some burn problems if you don't do some post-roll aging yourself. So there's no equation that anyone's ever done, because each manufacturer is going to be a little different.
So can you walk through a simple Connecticut broadleaf cost example per cigar?
So let's say you have 33 pounds of broadleaf to get to 500 whole leaves, and you use a half a leaf per cigar. So that's 1,000 cigars. So you'll end up with, out of that, about 150 that are binder grade, and then a shitload of unusable stocks that you paid for, which you pay for by weight, by the way. Broadleaf is only ever stock cured, so that you're paying for the weight of the stock itself as well. So now you can wrap 1,000 toros. And if broadleaf is $23 a pound in this example, you're going to spend 23 times 33, about $7.59 for wrappers on those 1,000 cigars. Divided by 1,000, you're at about 76 cents of wrapper cost per cigar, just for the broadleaf on the outside. And the dirty secret in the industry is that those binders that they got, those 150 binders and the fillers, become pure profit, because they're only going to factor in the price of that wrapper only out of their entire purchase. So they'll keep the binders and the fillers for another project, and that's free.
How does that compare to a thin Connecticut shade wrapper in terms of per cigar cost?
Much more efficient when it comes to shade grown, especially Connecticut shade grown. Same type of example, you might only need 6 pounds per 1,000 of top grade shade wrapper to make 1,000 toros. And even if that leaf is more expensive per pound, the fact that you use far fewer pounds means the wrapper cost per cigar comes out closer to 20 to 36 cents and not 76 cents like broadleaf.
So as usual, I'm in the minority here. So let's go ahead and switch it up. I'm not a huge Connecticut broadleaf guy. However, I am a fan of Mexican San Andreas wrappers. So what does the math look like on that side of it per cigar?
So listings have San Andreas around in the mid to high 50s per pound. And you're going to assume 10 to 12 pounds of San Andreas to wrap 1,000 cigars. So $59 times 8 pounds on the low end is $472 of wrapper, divided by the 1,000 cigars. So you're at 47 cents a wrapper for that cost. And on the low end, and the high end is going to be 71 cents. Again, it's going to boil down to which manufacturer you're buying your tobacco from, how much yield do you get out of it, how much pre-industry do you have to do yourself versus how much did the grower do.
What about Ecuador Connecticut shade? How much does that add to a cigar?
That's typically priced similar to the Connecticut shade per pound. It's thin and very efficient. So 6 pounds per 1,000, $60 times the 6 pounds is about $360 worth of wrapper on 1,000 cigars, and you're at about 36 cents in wrapper cost, even though the price per pound itself is a little higher.
All right, now let's talk about two of my favorite tobaccos. We have Habano or Habano, depending on who you are and how you say it, and Corojo wrappers land in terms of wrapper cost per cigar.
So you're going to get roughly 8 pounds per 1,000. You're going to be in the low 50s per pound. And so you'll be roughly around 40 cents per cigar on both of those. They're very few people are using authentic Corojo. Like the Aroas, they won't even sell it off. So you're going to get a derivative like Corojo 99 or Corojo 98 from someone like Aganorsa, Habano 2000. They're all in that same kind of price point. They're fairly run-of-the-mill wrappers that are plentiful, and you get a decent yield out of them, so you're not jacking the price up all that much.
And the Aroas are not letting anybody else buy it. They keep it all for themselves.
No.
How
They won't.
gluttonous.
And in the interest of full disclosure, they make the Abuelo for Two Guys cigars, and they would not make that cigar with the Corojo wrapper.
All right. Fair enough.
And let me tell you, they ain't giving it away.
Yeah, I bet. What does a typical Maduro wrapper cost look like on a per cigar basis?
Mid-tier wrappers are going to be around $43 a pound, and you're going to get roughly 9 pounds over the 1,000 usage because the leaf is a little thicker and does require a little more fermentation. So $387 roughly of wrappers to make 1,000 cigars. You're going to be at about 39 cents of wrapper cost per Maduro cigar.
How do specialty Honduran or small origin wrappers fit into the cost picture?
So you have specialty wrappers out of Honduras. You got Costa Rica. You don't often see a neat per pound public pricing on those, but realistically, they're somewhere in the mid 30s or low 40s per pound. So you're at roughly 30 to 36 cents per cigar for those wrappers, unless they can tell a very sexy story. If they can tell a sexy story, then they can charge more. And that really, in the cigar world, it all boils down to that. You either have something that's real like Connecticut broadleaf, which for those of us that love it, you don't like it that much, that's okay. But for those of us that love it, it's such a distinct flavor. I'm willing to pay a little bit more, especially for a bigger cigar.
Are cigars like the wine industry and even the beef industry, where estate selections or named farmed wrappers, will add to? I mean, some people want to like trace it back and do all this weird shit with beef, and of course we do that with wine. Do we do this in the cigar industry? And if so, what kind of cost is that?
You do hear about it, and I'm going to go a little bit off my my notes here. With Partagas 150, that was a 25-year-old Cameroon wrapper. So Cameroon already has a very low yield when it comes to wrappers, very delicate. So with Cameroon, you'd be already in that 70-cent range. The tobacco was 25 years old when they made that production run.
Wow.
So you're going to add like $1.50 to the total cigar because the tobacco itself was so old, and you'd get way less yield. So any of those specialty ones, again, there's no real way to prove that they had actual 25-year-old Cameroon tobacco. So a lot of it boils down to how good is the storyteller that's writing the copy for the press release.
If you had to give a quick on-air number, how would you summarize wrapper cost per cigar type?
So my little shorthand is thin premium shade wrappers sit roughly between 20 and 36 cents per cigar. Premium dark wrappers like San Andreas, Habano, Corojo, somewhere around 40 to 50 cents. And Connecticut broadleaf in a heavy use scenario is going to be 75 to 80 cents per cigar. Maybe even a little more, again, depending on the crop. And those ranges kind of make it easy to talk about how a wrapper can, just by itself, move a cigar's production cost before you deal with boxes, bands, or any marketing budget.
So you had mentioned the term pre-industry a few different times here as we're going through these questions. What role does pre-industry work play in pushing wrapper prices higher?
So pre-industry is the growing, the curing, the fermentation, sorting of the leaf before it ever gets to the factory floor. For wrappers like broadleaf, that behind-the-scenes work is very intensive, longer fermentations, more labor, higher rejection rates, more holes in the wrappers. So you get lower top-grade yields, and all of that pre-roll effort gets baked into the price. So by the time the wrapper's ready to be applied, it's far more expensive than the regular raw number would suggest.
What's the single most important takeaway for listeners about wrappers tonight?
I think the key takeaway is that wrapper cost is a combination of how much does it cost per pound and how many pounds do you need to get per 1,000 cigars. The price per pound by itself is a little misleading. So once you factor in how efficient the leaf is, how much yield you get, your pre-industry labor, and you can see how some cigars can jump in price just by changing the wrapper, and why broadleaf in particular is such a powerful driver of the overall cost of the cigar.
Not asking you to give away any business trade secret, but is there a lot of margin in cigars? Like when you're buying from the cigar manufacturers to the point where you're selling it to the retailer, is there a margin there?
So in the end, if we can get somewhere between, if we can be north of 6% and we can be, or if we ever hit 7, we throw a party when all is said and done, because there's just, you've got shipping, you've got putting your lights on, running the air conditioner, the heat. It's mind-blowing the amount of expense that goes into it. If there's a reason why I work at a cigar shop and I do not own a cigar shop.
Uh-huh.
And listen, there's a lot of cigar shop owners that come in, they buy wholesale from me, and they pick my brain all the time. And if they do the stuff that I tell them, which I'm no genius, I learned from Dave Garofalo. So if they do the stuff that I tell them, their business is more successful. And I know better than to open my own cigar shop because, man, you got to just, I'm telling you that the jingling sound you hear when Dave walks down the hallway is not change in his pocket. They're made out of brass.
Smoking Joe's Pit Barbecue wants to ask one question here before I let you go tonight. I don't know who they are, but do they really dip cigars in cognac or spray them with cognac? I'm guessing manufacturers.
Yes. So there's two kinds of flavoring when it comes to premium cigars. So you have a chemical bath using osmosis and the air, and then you also have liquor infusion. And honestly, inside of liquor infusion, the folks at Aganorsa and Single Cask Nation created a new version, which is using the devil's cut in the barrel and doing 1 week in the barrel, 1 week out for 52 weeks,
wow.
Which doesn't really give you a liquory taste of the cigar. It just kind of gets you whiskey adjacent. The other version is actually having liquor, and after the cigar is finished, rolling the cigar through the liquor and then letting it dry. And sometimes they'll do that a couple of times, and that actually does add the flavor of the liquor to the outside of the cigar. You do have to be careful with it, and you have to be careful with the cigar once it's wet to make sure you're doing the right things to get the humidity back down, because even though alcohol is not prone for mold growth, the moisture that it creates can cause some serious issues. So those manufacturers that do it they're very good at what they do, and they are using the real liquor.
I'm sure you've seen the videos of a younger Arnold Schwarzenegger brushing tequila on a cigar before he lights it up and smokes it. Is that nonsense?
That is the single most asinine thing that anyone can do to a cigar.
You tell them.
Prior to lighting it.
Yeah.
Is to use a paintbrush and paint the liquor. So the amount of effort that it takes the manufacturer to go from seed to finished product, they ship it, they deal with all the importation taxes and tariffs and all that nonsense. They bring it to me, and I use very high-end reverse osmosis is the only moisture that those cigars see. And I hold it at a specific humidity, and I take care of my stuff, and I look after it. And then you buy the cigar and it's at a perfect 65%. And then you take it to 100% by brushing the wrapper with liquor. Listen, I'm not opposed to drinking. When I'm done the show, I'm going to have my scotch.
Yeah.
I'm not dipping the cigar in the scotch because the cigar will ruin the scotch and the scotch will ruin the cigar. The pairing is smoking and drinking, or drinking and smoking, and you pick the order for whatever you're smoking or whatever you're drinking, but you don't put the liquor in contact with the cigar ever.
Mr. J is the smartest person as it relates to cigars. Of course, we know this. That's why we have him here once a quarter. CigarAuthority.com is the website for the show /podcast. Or if you're into buying cigars, which I recommend you do, you should only be going online to the numeral 2guyscigars.com. Mr. J, always appreciate the time, and we'll see you in 3 months.
All right. Thank you, Greg.
You got it. There he is, Mr. J, right there, schooling you on the finer points of cost as it relates to cigar wrapper. We went through all of the different varietals: Connecticut broadleaf, Maduro, Corojo, Habano, Sumatra, Ecuadorian. Come on. You got to be kidding me. All right, we do have a Robert Moss coming up here in very short order, so stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
And we thank Mr. J for joining us last segment. The number 2guyscigars.com to buy cigars. CigarAuthority.com is the podcast website. My next guest can be seen quarterly here on the show, a Barbecue Central Show's guest Hall of Famer, contributing editor to Southern Living magazine. It is our pal, perhaps the smartest guy ever to join the show on a consistent basis. Sorry, meathead. It is Robert Moss. Boy, Robert, I apologize in advance, but we have a YouTube poll question of the week that was spawned by a exit statement years and years ago that was replayed on the Best Moment show this past Friday. If I gave you $5 million to have sex with a cow covered in jelly, would you do it?
100% no.
No. All right. 100% no. So not even a waiver. My previous guest said 100% yes, and $5 million is a lot of money. And
yeah, I'm not sure the jelly is a big factor for me. It's more
no,
the cow
it's not
part.
pushing you over the edge to tip that cow and have your way with it. All right. So before we get into topic of the evening, which is mustard-based barbecue sauce, Southern Living Luncheon with Legends. It's an event. It's coming up next month. If I'm excited about perhaps taking part in it, how do I even go about doing that?
Yeah, well, it actually has its own website. It's luncheonswithlegends.com, or you can just Google Southern Living Luncheons with Legends. And there are tickets and all the information is available out there. It's coming up, I think, September 20th, which is a Sunday. So, about 6 weeks from now, in a place called Hunter Farm, which is south of Charlotte, North Carolina. And it is actually a event that's sort of building off of a feature I did for Southern Living back in, I think it was the April issue, maybe the May issue of Southern Living, called The Next Barbecue Legends, where I profiled 5 great pitmasters who I sort of was speculating who might be the legends that when we look back on 2025, 2026, who will be the legends that we talk about. And I picked 5 candidates. And one of them is Lewis Donald, who runs Sweet Lou's Barbecue in Charlotte. And he had the brilliant idea of, why don't we get all the legends together and do a big event? And that's what we're doing. So all 5 of the legends will be there. It's a great lineup. And so each one will be cooking, sort of have their own station where they're cooking, and there'll be oysters and appetizers and drinks and a whole bunch of other stuff going on, and music and all that good thing. So it should be a pretty fun afternoon.
Limited number of tickets?
There are a limited number of tickets. I don't know exactly how many there are, but it is not going to be a huge event. I mean, you're talking in the several dozen. You're not talking in hundreds of people being there. I may go ahead and name check the pit masters are going to be there, because it's a pretty good legendary lineup, you might say, from folks from all over the country. We've got Evan Leroy coming in from Leroy and Lewis in Austin. We got Hector Garate from right here in Charleston, South Carolina, where I am, who's going to come in. And I don't know for sure, but I imagine he might be cooking a whole hog, which that's sort of his specialty. And then Zach Parker, or maybe he will, Zach Parker from Scott Parker's Barbecue in Lexington, Tennessee, a great traditional whole hog joint is coming in. Elliot Moss, another South Carolinian from up in Florence, will be coming in.
No relation?
No relation to me. I know Elliot pretty well. He's he has his own place now, Elliot's Barbecue Lounge, I think he calls it, in Florence. Previously at Buxton Hall up in Asheville, North Carolina. You may have heard of that. And then Lewis Donald from Sweet Lou's in Charlotte will be the fifth, rounding out the lineup. So it's really quite an impressive lineup of pit masters. I'm looking forward to just going up and eating everything.
You're going to be there like the whole time, so if fans of the show want to partake in the barbecue, they could also rub shoulders with a Dr. Moss.
Absolutely, I'll be there. I will be officially. Wow. I'm not sure exactly what I'll be doing. Some kind of MC kind of deal. Probably talk a little bit, about the pit masters, introduce them. But again, it'll be a small event, so mostly it will be, walking around, chatting, talking to people, and just sort of really, having a good time in September.
So if you're interested, go ahead and check out the websites or do the Google search of Southern Living Luncheon with Legends event, and it's going to be happening around the 20th of next month in September there, so about September 6 weeks 20th. From now. Yep, so look for that. And if you go, because we'll obviously get a recap from Robert that following month, but if you go, I would love to hear your feedback on it and what you thought about it as well. Maybe we can have you on for a joint segment as a guest for a recap. The other item I want to talk about here this evening, and I don't know why I have been getting a larger than normal influx of emails regarding mustard-based sauce, but I said, well, when Robert comes back on next month, why don't we just go ahead and either re-dive into this, or maybe we've only covered it from a high level and never really did any kind of deep dive to really explore the history here, because I believe there was either some misinformation or some people think that this whole concept of how the mustard-based thing got started is completely wrong. So let's debunk the most well-known or most used, this is where mustard-based sauce comes from, which is, well, there's just a large German immigration population there in that region of the Carolinas, and that's where mustard-based sauce comes from.
Yeah, it's one of those explanations that sounds good, but has absolutely no evidence behind it.
Oh no!
So mustard-based barbecue sauce, is sort of the iconic sauce of at least part of South Carolina, particularly what we call the Midlands, which is the middle part of South Carolina, around the center of the state where Columbia, the capital, is. And all the barbecue joints in that area, and really down all the way to the coast where I'm in Charleston, serve mustard-based sauce. And it's all blurring these days, but it used to be when I was growing up, you would never find mustard-based sauce up in the PD region, which is the northeastern part of South Carolina, or up in the western part where I grew up near the mountains. That was all a vinegar sauce. So mustard is sort of the classic South Carolina sauce. Where this German origin story came from is a little bit of a mystery to me, but it sort of has appeared, and people are saying that yes, Germans apparently love mustard, and then there are a lot of German families in South Carolina, and therefore the Germans brought their love of mustard to South Carolina, and that's why South Carolina has mustard sauce.
Do you have any proof to show that the Germans invented mustard even?
No, I don't even know that Germans have a particular fondness for mustard over, say, the English, who also are well known to eat mustard with lots of things.
Yes, but they're not known for food at all.
Yeah, that's true. You would need a little mustard, for a lot of things you're eating in England.
Yeah.
But actually, if you look at the South Carolina settlement patterns, there was a influx of German immigration in the 18th century, like really before the Revolution. And there's actually an area around Columbia that was settled by Dutch or by German immigrants. It's called the Dutch Fork, even to this day. The sort of fork between rivers. Dutch, like the Pennsylvania Dutch, is actually Deutsch or German. And so people will point at that and say, oh, well, Midlands, they had all these German populations. The problem is the German immigration was all before the Revolution. And there's almost no German immigration to South Carolina from the Revolution all the way up until the 1840s. And even then, it was very minimal. So, and you don't find any trace of mustard sauce in the historical record until the 20th century. If you look at any description of barbecues in the Carolinas in the 19th century, the colonial era, it's all dressed with that basic, vinegar, salt and pepper sauce. So either these Germans all came here around 1750, settled around Columbia, intermarried, and then like 150 years later, this sort of inbred fondness for mustard came out and they created the sauce. Or no, they just invented the sauce. Also, there are lots of Germans in the Piedmont of North Carolina, and there's actually some folks who will claim that the fondness for pork and vinegar in the Piedmont, North Carolina, is because of the German influence. And there's a lot of Germans also went to Texas and founded the German Czech meat markets out there. But they didn't bring mustard sauce. So we're, these Germans sure got around. But
all right, let's just do this. We are now proclaiming that the Germans indeed founded barbecue, period.
That's right. The Germans invented barbecue.
We are breaking the news tonight.
Germans love mustard and no other culture.
Yes,
does.
Yes, mustard, the brisket, the pork ribs, all the holy quad of protein that we've come to know and love. We're shattering the very foundations of barbecue as we've come to know and love it. Barbecue, all Dutch, all white, all that good stuff. Everything that you hate is true, unfortunately, and we're saying that tonight definitively, right, Robert?
Yeah, whatever.
Well, I'm saying it, and I'm not even serious. So, all right, so 20th century, the mustard sauce is starting to be documented. Is there a original recipe or a common recipe that you've been able to pull up here? Look at Fireman's
Yeah, so this
Q.
is Fireman's Q served Monday. This is July 1st, 1915. First trace I've been able to find, and actually I didn't find it. I'll give credit to a guy named Hardy Childers who lives in Columbia, South Carolina, who sent this to me. He turned it up. There is the Columbia Fire Department in 1915. Apparently, they've been doing this for a couple of years. Before that, had an annual July 4th barbecue. And this is a newspaper article talking about it. And it says in the newspaper article, there will be served with the dishes of the Q, the usual accompaniments of salads and sauces. The fireman's brand of mustard dressing is in favor in Columbia. And so it in favor. So apparently the fire department was serving their barbecue with a mustard dressing. What's most interesting to me is it says that the dressing served with the annual Fireman's Q is also unique. So it's not like everyone was serving it. It was like sort of this unique sauce that they served with their barbecue. 1915.
Engine House 6 is claiming victory on this barbecue sauce.
And literally, it says the barbecue pit is being dug in the rear of the central engine house. Oh. So right where they had the wagons, which 1915 probably still horse-drawn wagons.
Sure.
They're digging a pit inside the firehouse and lighting fires at the firehouse and cooking a pig all day and serving it with mustard sauce. First trace I could find of it, and then it's sort of. You don't see much of it for a while. It's really not until after World War II that you start seeing anybody talk about mustard sauce. So I think it developed. I know that the firemen were the first, but it sort of developed around the Midlands area, early 20th century, which coincidentally is when all the other regional styles of barbecue are developing. Also, probably not a coincidence, when prepared mustard and things like that were starting to appear on the commercial scene. And so you had, lots of different ingredients to experiment with that you may not have had, back in the 19th century. 19th century, everything was just a sauce of pepper, vinegar, black and red pepper, vinegar, and maybe some lard or butter that they basted everything with on the pit. That was the 19th century sauce.
When we look at mustard sauce today, is there an iconic brand that we can turn to? We look at a Sweet Baby Ray's, a Casey Masterpiece. Present day, you're probably looking at a Blues Hog or something along these lines. But then, of course, there's so many different options and knockoffs of one or the other. Is there a staple or an iconic mustard sauce brand?
I don't know that there is one in the way that you might say, like, there's like the KC masterpiece or something that, is sort of like the iconic open pit. I mean, there are lots of mustard sauces up until about probably 10, 15 years ago. When you found mustard sauce in the store, you'd probably be in the Carolinas. They really weren't served outside of South Carolina. And it was generally from one of the various, barbecue restaurants around here. The Bessinger family, for instance, both Maurice's and then the Bessingers down here in Charleston, both had sauce factories and were doing bottled sauces probably, 30, 40 years ago. So those were always in local stores. They just weren't really spread outside. I think in the last 10 years, most of your big commercial brands have introduced a mustard sauce. So I don't know if Sweet Baby Ray's, for instance, has a mustard sauce. It would not surprise me if they have a yellow flavor, though, because very many, everyone's done brand extensions in the last 10 years. And now you've got Alabama white sauce and South Carolina mustard sauce everywhere. 20 years ago, you probably would not have found very many, if any, mustard sauces on the shelves outside of, the Carolinas and maybe Georgia.
So it's probably butting up right against that time frame because I've been doing the show for 20 years. And prior to the show, I was doing a message board. And a guy on the message board, Woody Lynch, his father, Reverend Marvin, had a very, hyper regionally successful mustard-based barbecue sauce. And it was the regular version. There was the spicy version. I think we've talked Reverend Marvin's on the show here a couple of different times. And I had a couple people reach out to me recently saying, hey, when is that sauce going to come back to market? I hadn't talked to Woody in a number of years, so I reached back out through Facebook over the course of last week, got a hold of him, and I said, hey, any way this sauce is going to take back off again, or can you give me the recipe? Can I buy the recipe? Like, what does that look like? I mean, he couldn't have shut me down fast enough and all questions asked. So the hope of a rekindling of Reverend Marvin's is a no, which to me is a world, not just a national, but a world tragedy, because to me that is the gold standard, no pun intended, of mustard-based barbecue sauce. But ones that are available for me, and if you haven't tried them, but I think you've been to Truth Barbecue, Leo makes an incredible mustard-based barbecue sauce. And then great guest and friend of the show and Barbecue Central's guest Hall of Famer, Andy Husband, that does the smoke shop up there in New England, has a really great mustard-based barbecue sauce as well. So if you're looking for a couple to try, you can get both of those online, and they are Barbecue Central Show approved, not sponsored, but approved and big fans. Are there any that you like, or you just make your own and you're happy?
Well, I just make my own, actually, and it's really easy. I don't know that I even really have a recipe. I take a big old thing of yellow mustard, and then either brown sugar, honey, or both. You can mix that in, and then whatever else you want to put in there. A little vinegar to give a little acid. I think it helps, and then like a little red pepper or something like that, and sort of just mix it up. And I do it in a pot in the stove and heat it up, so you sort of bring it to a boil, and then just sort of stir it to get everything mixed together, and then let it cool and off it goes, and it stays well in the fridge for a couple of weeks. So I always have a mustard sauce if I'm cooking, made myself if I'm cooking anything.
And it goes exceptionally well with pork, I think, both ribs and
particularly
pork
well
sandwich.
with pork.
No doubt,
absolutely. And you got to have I think it needs a good bit of sweetness in it. There are a few in South Carolina that are mostly mustard, and it's really just. It's stiff if you're just doing that. But if it has a good balance of like brown sugar or something like that, to balance out the mustard, it is a perfect combination for pork as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah. Great mustard sauce is hard to beat. This is Robert Moss, and he has now redefined and explained mustard sauce to all of you folks. So make sure that you have paid proper attention. And for the next person that claims that the Germans brought it over, you can stop them right in their tracks and then correct them, because there's nothing better in life than being able to correct somebody when they are telling you nonsense. Robert, always appreciate the time, and we will see you in September.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Greg.
You got it. There he is, Robert Moss, right there doing it as always. Boy, and I've heard it more and more recently that, a big German population down there, and that's what happens. That's where they got the mustard sauce. No. As Robert said, great story, feel-good story. Yes to the immigration, not so much on the mustard sauce. We are truth tellers here on the show, and we are courageous, as Daniel Vaughn once said. So we will continue to tell the truth. All right. Little long there, but that's all right. Before we catch up and head to the second hour, we talk about our pals over at Fireboard. They are proud sponsors of this show. They are the innovators behind the Fireboard 2, the Fireboard Pro, the Fireboard Spark. Also, the Fireboard Beacon, which is great, has that sub G1 technology. And of course, the wireless Fireboard Pulse. Experience total control with all of your devices from anywhere in the world with the Fireboard app. Please discover more by visiting the website, fireboard.com, or you can call them with questions. 816-945-2232. Long-time sponsor of the show, perhaps the longest-running sponsor of the show at this point. And again, the website, fireboard.com. So we appreciate Ted and the gang out there. Again, fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. We're back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Robert Moss for joining us as he does each and every segment, or each and every month in the 35 past segment. Oh, Robert prefers vinegar-based sauce. I know that. South Carolina, bro. Or North Carolina, bro. Sorry. No, South Carolina. I was right the first time. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this first hour up. If you've missed the first hour, never you worry. We are recording. First hour will be available through audio podcast tomorrow. Second hour on Thursday. Show immediately auto archives for replay on either video platform. Refresher libations, we're coming right back directly for the second hour. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me! Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
We ate soup or wieners.
Oh, listen, Liberty, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. It is the Barbecue Central show. This is a show that talks about the most important barbecue and grilling items of the day. The show is coming to you live and direct from
Palm City, USA, Cleveland.
Still to come on this show this evening, Connie DeSousa and John Jackson. If you are watching Pitmasters on Food Network, they are on that show. Still on that show. I don't even know if they have been close to elimination yet. They've won some hot flash challenge, whatever the hell they call it. They have a very expert way around sausage making. Connie, I believe, is called the Sausage Queen in Canada, or the Canadian Queen, Sausage Canadian Queen, or something like that. So whenever there appears to be an option to make the sausage. She's like right there jumping in. How can we turn this into sausage? I don't know if I've ever made sausage, to be honest, in my life. So let me get rid of that. I told you earlier, oh, by the way, we are thanking people that are tuning in and watching through our video streaming platforms. You can go to facebook.com/BBQ Central Show. You can also go to youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show. We have a new YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. If I gave you $5 million to have sex with a cow covered in jelly, would you do it? And currently 21% of you are saying yes, you would do that. See how I reversed it? 79% of you are saying no, almost 80% of you. So good for you. By the way, I haven't weighed in on that, and the answer is a resounding no. In fact, it's a double no. I agree with Mr. Jonathan. $5 million is a lot of money. I don't know if you could put enough jelly on that cow to make it worth my while. In fact, I know you can't, because even when smothered in jelly, it's a cow. And I'm not going to get down like that. I am pro-bovine. I'm pro all the stuff that Mr. J said. I'm just not the guy that's going to have sex with an animal. But 21% of you can do what you want, and I know the argument right now. $5 million. I hear you. I hear you. But I will continue to remain steadfast in mediocrity instead of going for the quick buck. As I had mentioned, hour number 1 of the show will be released into the audio podcast tomorrow. Hour number 2 of the show will be released on Thursday. And we have a new Best Moments show coming up on Friday, which, of course, is bringing you episode 446, taking you back to August 13th of 2013. So 13 years ago. And it will almost be to the day. So 12th will be one day off on Friday is going to be the 14th. Is that right? Yes. And being featured this week is Dave Bosca and Lene Oxley, probably timely from their time on Barbecue Pitmasters. That was on, at that point, back 13 years ago. It was probably a Destination America thing, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe, was that show on Food Network? Was it Outdoor Cooking Channel? I don't think that was a Food Network show. It was probably pitched to Food Network. They didn't buy it, and they were pissed, because that ended up going on 11, 12 seasons or whatever it was. But I believe this one will be a recap of time on Pitmasters with Dave Bosca and Lene Oxley. So please stay tuned for that. You can subscribe to this show and the Best Moment Show by visiting thebbqcentralshow.com/subscribe. Don't forget the in the beginning. And if you want to hear a past guest or segment again that you feel has been lost in the archives, you can email John and let him know what you would like to hear. John's email address is john@thebbqcentralshow.com. I don't have enough time to get into the recap necessarily of the Atlanta trip last week. I do want to give thanks and praise to my pal Rashid Phillips, meeting him in person. Wow. So you see him on television, and he's a large human being, and he's got an extensive amount of hair. And being a guy who is only concerned about his hair and his lack thereof, and that is retreating very quickly, so much so that what's happening tomorrow at 9:30 a.m.? I got the toupee appointment in Westerville, Ohio. Yes. Me, Lindsay Cole, we're going to be sitting down. We're going to be talking about what it's actually like, how it actually go down. We're going to be trying on some test colors. We're going to get me shaded right. So the install is not going to be happening tomorrow, nothing like that. You're not going to see me next Tuesday with a brand new hairline. But I'm not hiding it. I'm not going to be that dick that just shows up and it's like, oh, what what's a little different there? Oh, I can't seem to put on. Like, I'm not trying to sneak it past you. Much like Sebastian Maniscalco, comedian supreme, is not hiding the fact that he is going to get another round of hair transplant. I'm not going to do that. But I am going to continue to go down the learning path of what a toupee would look like on a man in 2026. And the videos that I'm seeing, she was a student under Toupee Queen, who's an absolute magician. I've seen Lindsay's videos after she's gotten back to, let's call it Columbus, Ohio. I am not fragile enough to worry about you guys laughing at me. I mean, I'm in a house full of women. I'm laughed at all the time. Like, you think I have feelings? Dead inside. So I am going to have this appointment 9:30 a.m. I am going to come back on the show next Tuesday and report back on what the potential reality of me getting back down to Columbus is, and it's probably going to be in September. And it's at some point in September, you could see me with toupee. And we're going to show all around it. We're going to get multiple camera angles. I will be that douche that takes all the videos. Maybe I'll ask for a little bit of a discount, if I post it on my Instagrams, because I have a little bit of a large following. I could inspire some males to head up here. Maybe there's some people that are close-ish. There's not a lot of women or males that have studied under the Toupee Queen that are around the greater tri-quad Quint State area. I have a lot to choose from. I'm excited that there is one in Columbus, and I go to Columbus once a month for work. So it's happening 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. The very first toupee consultation on this guy is going with Lindsay Cole, and Hair by Lindsay Cole is her name. So stay tuned for the report next Tuesday on if it's going to happen or not going to happen, or I remain on the fence, whatever. But once again, I remain unfazed. My pride is not too much. I will share everything with you so you learn along with me. And if we can inspire the move ahead, then that's exactly what we'll do. Way off track from what I was talking about originally, which was giving thanks and praise to my pal Rashid Phillips. He had me on This Week in Barbecues podcast last Monday. We recorded an episode. I'm not sure exactly when that's going to be coming out. Usually he releases on Tuesday. I didn't see anything new in the feed. I'm also anxious to see if he decided to do any type of editing or if he's just going to let it roll. We talked about a lot of different topics. Not your standard interview with me. Not that a lot of people care to interview me for whatever reason. I think I'm a great guest with great takes. He did see that value, and because we were down there visiting Bobby's new place, since they had just moved a handful of days earlier than that, the timing was great. Of course, I was available. We met up. He's got a great studio. A lot of things that you don't know about Rashid Phillips that I told him he should be announcing to everybody, but I'm not going to talk out of school here. But to say that I have come out of that experience to be even more impressed with how handsome he is, with how tall he is, with his muscularity, the hair, and how much of a talent, outside of all the physical shallow stuff, the talent that this guy has might be unmatched in the space. And again, I'm not talking out of school, so you're going to have to take my word for it. Rashid, thanks for having me on the show. Whenever it comes out, I'll be the first one to start promoting it. And thanks again. And when I get back into Atlanta again, another segment. Let's go. I'm ready. All right, so Connie and John are ready to go. That's right. So stay tuned for that. Before we talk about their experience on Pitmasters, are you ready for a cigar experience built on history and passion? Let me tell you about our pals over at McAuliffe Cigars, a partnership forged between Texas passion and a Cuban cigar-making dynasty whose heritage spans back to the 1930s. Whether you seek a nuanced elegance of something like, let's say, the Migdalia, or a complex power of something like the Leanda, McAuliffe offering a symphony of flavors for every palate. And don't forget about the ever-expanding color series. I think next month we will unveil a new color. We might see Amanda McAuliffe back here on the show talking about a new color. We've heard about it. We've heard it maybe orange might be it. I don't know. You haven't seen it from me, because I'm holding true to the embargo. Each cigar handcrafted in Esteli, Nicaragua by the legendary Gomez Sanchez family. McAuliffe delivers tradition and quality in every draw. Taste the tradition. Visit McAuliffeCigars.com and find a retailer near you. McAuliffe is spelled MICALLEF. McAuliffeCigars.com. We are back with Pitmasters. Stick around. Be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
And we welcome you back. Bumping up a segment and basically helping me close the show tonight are a pair of Canada's most established chef duos, boasting a partnership that spans over 25 years, based in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. They co-founded the Char Hospitality Group, which includes acclaimed restaurants such as Char Cut and Char Bar. Before their current appearance on Food Network's Pitmasters, they've built an extensive television resume on programs like Top Chef Canada, Top Chef USA, and Fire Masters. This deep experience in both high-end culinary competition and traditional live fire cooking makes them unique voices in the barbecue space, and I am excited to talk to them for the first time this evening. So let's welcome the aforementioned first-time guests here to the show, Connie DeSousa and John Jackson, joining us. Hey, gang, how are we?
Great.
Thanks
for having us.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
Let me offend you right off the bat. We have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. This is spawned from an old-time interview from a guest about 13 or 14 years ago that made its way onto the Best Moment show last Friday. So I figured I'd turn it around and ask the YouTube watching public and all guests, of course. And it goes a little something like this, and John, you can answer first. If I gave you $5 million, would you have sex with a cow covered in jelly?
5 million Canadian or American?
American, of course.
Oh, that's like 100 million Canadian,
yeah,
buddy.
Right.
I think pretty much anyone would do it then.
Oh, okay. We're going to go yes with John. Connie?
I need to ask some more questions.
Okay. I mean, like, jelly and a cow.
Would it be
so.
in private, or would this be
yes,
publicized?
Private. Yes.
Oh.
No, private.
Is
Absolutely.
Are they dressed up? Like, you know what I mean?
Dressed like a cow, covered in jelly. Yeah.
You get to have a few beer before, or
anything you want. Anything you want.
There's at least 50 questions.
Yes.
At least.
Yes.
I'm gonna go yes as long as I get to do it first.
Yes. All right. No. Yeah.
I
John,
don't want to be second on that.
John, sloppy seconds for you. All right. So you guys are joining the 21% of the YouTube voting public voting yes. The rest of us non-heathens said no at 79%.
Yeah. Well, you know, whatever.
That's right. It's it must
whatever.
be different up there in Canada.
We're 5,000. We're 5 million richer.
5 million.
Indeed.
5 million Canadian, not a chance, guys. Not a chance. 5 million Canadian ain't gonna get it.
No. The show is based in America, so it is 5 million single American dollars headed your way.
They would, that's like buying a whole province here. I'm just saying.
Yeah. All right. So Canadian based. So right away we're going to more offensive questions. Who do you believe is, aside from you two, is the most influential live fire Canadian talent? Is it Ted Reeder? Is it Diva Q? Or is it Robert Rainford?
They're all great. Roger Mooking's awesome too. Good buddy.
But he's short.
Yeah, he's short, but he's a good looking guy.
Yeah. Nominated for the Barbecue Hall of Fame, if you can believe.
Yeah. And he deserves it too. Yeah, we've worked with him a lot. He's the real deal. And he's a rapper. Just say it. He started off in music and an artist. Like he's got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of talent. So,
but if you had to pick one to have lunch with, or have them cook you a dinner, who of the three is it?
Well, can we invite all of them?
Yeah.
No,
I would say
we have to pick one. We're here to offend solely.
Hey, but
so
I'm
you have
just
to pick
saying,
one.
I'm $5 million richer. I could probably get all of them to come down.
Fly them in your new jet that you just bought with that $5 million.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much, bud.
So you guys have been working side by side as co-chefs and business partners since 1999.
Yeah,
so
since 1999.
In an industry known for, I mean, this is where the saying came from, like too many cooks in the kitchen. How do you maintain, Connie, a unified creative vision for 25 years without, let's say, alpha chef ego getting in the way?
Yeah, that's a very good question because a lot of chefs are very alpha and have huge egos.
Yeah.
Our dynamic and our relationship is very unique because John actually hired me right out of culinary school. So for many, many years, John was my chef and my mentor until we became co-chefs probably about halfway through my career. So for that reason, I think like ego aside, there really wasn't an ego because he was my mentor. I looked up to him for most of my career. And when we became co-chefs, that's when our relationship changed and the dynamic in the kitchen changed. So I wouldn't say we struggled with that dynamic at that point, but there was a bit of a learning curve.
Yeah,
when
we butted heads a couple
chefs.
times for sure. Like learning how to have one voice with the team and with our cooks and making sure that we were supporting each other. It took some time to get used to. Like, there was one time when we were in the opening phase of our first restaurant and a cook was cleaning an artichoke and I walked by and I was like, who the hell, buddy, let me show you how to clean the artichoke properly. And so I start showing him how to clean the artichoke and I said, okay, do you got that? And he said, yes, chef, I'm sorry, but Connie just showed me how to clean it that way. And
I wasn't laughing at the time.
And she was peering over my shoulder like 3 feet away while I was doing
death
this.
Stare.
Death stare. And I
Daggers.
felt it. Like it was like horrible. Like I just felt like curling up in a ball. But that was a lesson, and that really aligned us to make sure the next time we saw one of our cooks doing something that the other one didn't really agree with, we would, first ask the question, who showed you that?
Yeah. So let me ask a question to you, John. So you hire Connie.
Yeah.
You're seeing her maturation, her skill set increase. And so as we talk about the cook's ego, easily you could have been like, oh, Connie might be a rising star. She might overtake me at some point. Blah, blah, blah.
Super talented. She was doing circles.
But you could ship her off somewhere else. You could get rid of her. You maintain the star on you. But is it a testament to you recognizing talent and saying, hey, this isn't necessarily about me. This is good business to keep Connie and continue to rise her through the ranks?
We just had such a really good synergy, right? And that's where, like, when Connie got to the point where she started exceeding on so many different levels of what I could do. I'm really good at some things and Connie's really good at others. And when she started getting to that point where she was kicking my ass, it really became apparent that this relationship was really dynamic together because we kind of filled that void that each other was missing on the other elements of being not only a good chef but a good business owner. And that we always said to each other that if we ever open a restaurant, we're going to do it together. Mm-hmm. So that became like our secret sauce. Like that was the formula.
Opening a restaurant here in the States is like perhaps one of the most risky things you could ever do.
Yeah, here too in Canada.
I assume it's no different there. So
yeah.
Connie, when you look at your skill set, like what do you think you're bringing to the table, and where do you think John compliments you?
Well,
Oh, this is good.
I think
Can't
it's
wait.
easier for me to talk about John's skills than my own.
Oh,
Are you too humble?
I'm so well trained.
I know. I mean, I think it's easier to talk about our flaws than it is about our talents. I'm really bad at math, like really bad.
Yeah, she sucks at math.
So definitely John excels in that department.
Just on the business side of it,
Okay.
especially with like the deals and like making sure that we're set for success in the long run, right? Like the deals are critical when you're opening a business and negotiating those parts. So the numbers are important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So one of us needs to know about numbers.
Yeah.
Not only food.
Yeah, you can be a great chef if you know nothing about business. You're going to be out of business pretty quick.
You're done. Yeah.
So where does Connie compliment you, John?
Well, she's really good at patience, which is incredibly. I don't have a lot of patience, and she does. And I think when mentorship is like really one of the biggest backbones in our business and in the culture of our business, I think that having that plays a really important part in that mentorship that kind of allows us to be able to grow as we have. And she's like super disciplined. Like Connie, when it comes to her work ethic and her discipline, it's off the charts. Like, and I think that comes from maybe all her years of ballet before. Like, she just has such poise in the kitchen and is incredibly graceful, but nothing gets past her. Like, there's like, I remember when we were working in San Francisco, there was like a 45-year-old cook that she made cry, and he said, my coach,
I'm not proud of that.
My football, but he said my football coach didn't even make me feel this way because she would not let an inferior product pass. He kept on putting the wrong dressing on a salad, and he kept on putting it up. He said, that's the wrong dressing. He didn't put another one. He put it up, and she just wouldn't let it go past. It wasn't that she was humiliating she just had like,
standards.
It has to be done right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no way that you can talk me out of it. You can't convince me. You can't intimidate me. The salad won't get out to the guests until you do it right. And, that's Connie. And that was Connie at 21 years old with a 45-year-old, cook in the kitchen in San Francisco. So, that earns respect.
Connie, let's go to you with this question first. You're on Pitmasters now, but let's save that show talk for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in the restaurant scene, are you also a fan of live fire cooking, or does that come later?
Early years, no. I mean, we're classically trained chefs on like classical French equipment, fine dining restaurants, and then moved into hotels as well. Live fire, I would say, definitely came later. And we were really inspired by it when we opened our second restaurant, Char Bar, which focuses on the wood-fired grilling traditions of Argentina. And as you probably know, in Argentina, they use the parrilla, which is the wood-fired grill.
Yep.
So we did a lot of research, went down to Argentina and worked with local chefs and their families and learned a lot about those wood-fired grilling traditions. And then it kind of spanned from there.
Yeah,
John,
and I'd say similar. I mean, everything that I do is like on outside. If we look at my kitchen, it's like all open fire. It's all live fire. I have like an 8-foot grill. I have a like masonry built giant wood fired oven. Like that's the way I love to cook. And that transferred into the restaurants, like Connie said, like 14 years ago. And I feel like it's just grown so much more. Like where we are situated, being in Alberta and right, next to the Rocky Mountains, we spend so much time outdoors and cooking outdoors, and that live fire element is just everywhere we go. So it just felt like at some point it naturally just bled into what we did as chefs.
But you're not like Evan Leroy or Gary Pinkerton that, grew up in Texas and barbecue and live fire is just part of the tradition. Like you didn't grow up in a live fire family necessarily?
Well, I mean, live fire is a part of our culture here for sure. I mean, it's all outdoors. I mean, Calgary and Alberta is called Cowtown. It's like ranchers and mountains and outdoors and camping. And so in that sense, yes. But in the professional cooking sense, like where we were trained, no. Training was like classic culinary school, but our lives are built around it for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right, Connie, so when does TV start to make an appearance for you? When you start getting the asks?
So when we first opened our flagship restaurant, Charcut, in 2010, actually backpedaled to living in San Francisco right before we opened our restaurant. We were there for 5 years. I auditioned for Top Chef season 3, I believe was the Vegas season. Waited in a long line in San Francisco, met the producers, the casting directors, and they told me I wasn't made for TV. They said I didn't have a TV. I don't know. They said I didn't have a TV personality.
I don't know. I'd like to find the person that said that and say, "Look at this. Come on, asshole.
Yeah.
Look at me now.
Take a look, buddy. Hey, bud. Take a look at Connie."
Wow.
She's like, I think they're going to be pretty soon. They're going to have a parade named Connie DeSousa. I'm just saying, in Canada.
No kidding.
We love Connie.
So then fast forward to 2010, February, we had just opened our flagship restaurant, Charcut, and we hear that Top Chef is moving to Canada. And the Canadian Food Network has picked it up, and this is their inaugural season. And I auditioned at that point and ended up making it on the first season of Top Chef. And
that was like 400 years ago.
It was a long time ago. And that was actually a critical time in opening we had just opened. And then
she left me.
I left for like 6 weeks.
To
Top
do the
Chef
show?
Takes a long time to film.
See,
6
pretty good
weeks?
thing we had 2 chefs.
Yeah, 6 weeks. I'm like,
crap.
bye, John.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
know. I was left all by myself.
Yeah.
So is
in the middle of opening a restaurant.
Obviously there's some kind of a competitive fire in you, whether you're trying to be the best chef in the restaurant, sans TV cameras, or going on TV to prove your mettle.
And together.
But is it also to spool up publicity for the restaurant as well?
Yeah, I mean, elements of it, but we're competitive in nature. Like Connie and I compete at like everything in a nice, kind way. Like, at pretty much at life. I'm just saying. Yeah. Like, we work out together, we hunt together, we do all things together.
Run marathons together.
We run marathons. We ran New York last year. We ran side by side. I'm pretty sure I was 3 seconds faster, 1 second faster. Somehow it ended up me being like point some, when obviously Connie was the stronger runner. But like we like the competition. It feels good. It keeps life interesting. But what's good for business is great too, because remember, we have almost 200 employees that work for us, and they rely on us. They depend on us to keep the restaurants relevant, to keep making good decisions, and that's heavy. So, the fact that we can, put ourselves out there again and again and again on TV or in public's eye, and that the restaurants are going to be better for it, and they're going to be busier for it, and our staff are going to continue to be able to grow with us. I think that's as important. So it's definitely an element of driving force, and we think about it quite a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Connie, when you look at being in business for the better part of 16 years, might as well be 150 years when we're looking at restaurants. In the beginning, people come, they like the food, maybe even 5 years later like the food, but 16 years later, how do you remain relevant, as John said? How do you find the right changes to make so you're not scaring off the old guard customer base, but continuing to attract a new palate.
That's one of the hardest parts about being a restaurateur is trying to stay relevant. And the way that we do that is basically our role in the restaurants now. We're not really cooking on the line anymore.
Sure.
Our role is more publicity.
And training.
And training, yeah. But that's why we're doing stuff like this, stuff like Pitmasters, being on your podcast and really still trying to stay top of mind with our restaurants is important to keep it driving forward.
And we're like, it really ends up being like we end up leaning into areas that need more support. Like when we're opening places, we're kind of stuck there for, the first 6 months. And the life of a restaurant's quite interesting. It goes through, those ebbs and flows, and sometimes a restaurant needs more Connie and John support. We're chefs, we're educator, mentors, but we also are the HR and therapists. Our industry needs it. They need some love, and they need some attention, and they need to have real conversations, and there's ups and downs. So being there, for certain parts of the business and the people is important.
And I always say when our regulars ask us why they don't see us at one of our restaurants, because we have 10 now, so it's hard to be in all of them at the same time.
Wow.
If you're not seeing us there consistently, it's because that restaurant in particular is doing well. So our attention is being pulled in other directions where we are needed.
For the folks that don't know, because you've both used the term relationship a couple of different times here as we're talking, you guys are not together.
No.
Well, we're not married.
Yeah,
but
right. There's no romantic link here or anything like that. Yeah.
No.
I mean, my kids would be very confused. One of my kids are running around, they'd be very confused. They call her Auntie Connie. They don't call her Mummy.
So what's it? You have a wife, you have a husband.
Yeah.
Was there any kind of learning curve for your respective others to understand the relationship you guys have?
My wife carries a part of the business, and she's just not in the front. I mean, she's a lawyer, and she helps with all our back end stuff and makes sure that Connie and I don't end up in prison. I mean, she knows our dynamic, and she loves it. I mean, I can't, Connie and I grew up in industry together, and we have a really great relationship, and we love doing a lot of fun things together. But I mean, we're family. So, I mean, that's the way we celebrate together. We do things together as families. I mean, we're at my house right now, and, Connie's husband just left. My mom's in town from Saskatchewan. My kids are like, it's just a big family. So.
I don't have biological siblings, but John's definitely my adopted brother.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the TV show Pitmasters. So how does this opportunity roll around?
Well, they ended up, I think we applied for a different show, or we
auditioned for Barbecue Brawl.
Yeah. They called us up for a different show, and then they didn't want us to do it together. So we said, you know what, the next show we want to do as a team. So we're like, we're going to do a show as a team regardless. So we're not going to do that one. And the same person came back to us and said, man, I got a show for you. It's perfect. It's built for you guys. And started to describe it to us. And we're like, are you kidding me? Outdoors, fire, camping, like in the elements. Like that's my jam. I'm like survivalist 101. Like that's it. So when they said, and you're doing it together, oh my God, like this show is built for us, Connie. This is what we do.
Yeah. And I mean, I've like you said, I've done a lot of competition shows by myself, and I think
never get to do them.
We're just at a point in our careers where we want to do stuff together. Like we do everything else together. So why not do this together?
Yeah.
If it would have been you two on the show, but competing head to head, would you still have done it?
Well, that's what Barbecue Brawl wanted us to do.
They really wanted us to. Yeah, I didn't want to embarrass Connie.
Good for you, John. Always the gentleman. Yeah. All right. So you get the pitch. It's right in your wheelhouse. You're going to do it. Like, what other stuff are they telling you that is going to be about
They're
this?
telling us they didn't tell us much. They didn't even have a name for it at first, really.
Yeah.
And they just said that it's going to be really hard.
We're not going to sleep.
There's not going to be much sleep.
Yeah. 24-hour competition.
Yeah, it's 24 hours. As you know, it's 24-hour and it's rolling. And, you know, if you've watched the shows up to date, you know we are the only ones that haven't slept yet. Because we have this thing where, well, we've also watched the other competitors, the ones that have let each other have naps, have ended up on the bottom. So we're like, you know what? I would feel so bad if I was napping and then Connie had a flash burn challenge and we ended up going home because I was having a nap. Well, you know,
I'd have FOMO.
Yeah, what kind of father would I be? Like, my kids are watching this stuff. They're like, you let Auntie Connie, you know, she ended up because you were sleeping.
You took a nap.
Not going to do it. So we were just drinking coffee and maple syrup, Canadian maple syrup, keeping up and, you know, just, you know, giving her all and cracking jokes to keep us alert.
This is taping through a week, like 7 days?
No,
10 days.
Yeah, I think
10 days.
But yeah, we can't
You
say
didn't
how many
sleep
days
for
we
10
were there.
You didn't
no,
sleep
we can't
for
say that. We didn't sleep for, so far we haven't slept for 5 days.
I mean, I couldn't even imagine. Like, not
I
even
didn't
a
know
nod off
that-
anywhere or anything like that?
I'm surprised we're still alive.
We had like 15, 20 minute like nod offs.
Power nap?
But like 15, 20 minutes. But at this point, no more than an hour. So it was,
Holy
I
God.
mean, it was, but you know what? We've never been in better physical and mental shape in our entire lives.
Can there even be something going on that would require attention for that many hours in a row? Like, you couldn't get an hour somewhere?
Barbecue and live fire.
Yeah, I get it. But,
Just
I mean,
saying.
I've cooked a lot of overnight cooks, and I can get an hour or two.
But did you have an overnight cook where they saw that you were sitting down for the first time, and then they said, okay, they're sitting down, let's do a flash burn, and let's make them make us breakfast, right? Everything live fire. Or, hey, let's make them, I feel like having, you know, whatever, the best one bite. Like, no, that's what they're doing. Every time you think that you can sleep, they throw something at you. So that's the fun of the game.
So it appears in the current iterate. Well, I want to get ahead of myself. All right, so they explain everything as much as they can. You guys are bought into it. They give you time commitment. I assume you go back to the people at the restaurant and say, "Hey, we're going to take off for like however many weeks to."
Yeah,
to
we
do
told
the
them
show.
we told them that we had some like private clients that made us sign an NDA. We couldn't tell them who they are, you know. Really, like, and
Catering.
Yeah,
We said we were catering, yeah.
Catering, yeah. And that we had to go off site. We couldn't tell you where. Super secret. We have done gigs like that.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, so, you know, it's not unrealistic.
Like for Drake.
Yeah, you know, I can't say.
He's the most famous Canadian I know besides you guys. So.
Yeah, he's a pretty good. Yeah, he's our buddy. You know.
I bet.
But they bought it, and we snuck away, and we came back really tired.
When you get on set, and so now I'm asking for like your true feedback. This is stuff that's already aired. You probably talk about it. But when you see the other teams start showing up, like how many do you know right off the bat? And
None.
Then of the
Not one.
You didn't know one?
We didn't know any.
Did you know any of the judges?
We know. Of course, we know the judges.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we knew all the judges.
I don't know.
But we didn't know the competitors. And
you didn't know Al Fergoni?
Well, yeah. I feel bad. I mean, we don't know anyone.
I feel like you probably would have stodged with him when you were in Argentina.
No, but we know.
I'm actually surprised that our paths haven't crossed
I am
yet.
surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, we do know a lot of like chefs from Argentina that we've done a lot of collaborations with. We are surprised, but see the barbecue specific world and the world we come from, it's just they're a little different. So and I love that they're married now. Because Al's he's coming up here. We're gonna be doing an event. We have a bunch of other barbecue pit masters coming to Canada. We can't wait. And we're really like immersing ourselves into the barbecue because it's like we're loving it because it's something new.
It's a new culture for us, for sure.
And it's so great. Like everyone makes you feel so good.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a welcoming crew.
Yeah, and it feels like there's no ego in barbecue too, which I love.
So far.
Yeah.
So far they haven't shown us one.
Is that accurate?
They're pretty nice. I mean, we do say
I don't
sorry
compete.
a lot.
I couldn't possibly answer that. Is there ego in barbecue?
we say sorry a lot, so maybe it's just our Canadian accents or something.
So you don't know any of the teams coming up, so there's no
we were
need to
super
even
underdog.
be. Yeah, that's.
We were
I don't
really
even think that,
intimidated.
right? I mean, so let me flip the question back on you guys. Do people know who you are?
No, I don't think so. I
So
don't
it's
think
a-
any. Well, Susie knew you. She
Susie,
followed you on
yeah.
Instagram
Yeah,
and
of course
stuff.
she did.
Right.
So a
I've
couple,
heard about that,
a couple people did,
Yeah.
but
By and large, no.
I really was quite intimidated at first because I felt like the kid that doesn't get picked on a soccer team, the last one to get picked. I kind of felt
I
like
was that guy. Yeah.
I was that. We were those people.
Mm.
You know, everyone was getting hugs but us, and I was like, oh, man,
Americans.
I want a
they're the
hug.
worst.
I want a hug. But let me tell you, after like 45 minutes an hour,
we were all friends.
We're all friends. So
Yeah.
that's good, and we're still friends.
So as the season starts to unfold, I think it's pretty safe to say, as you're watching through the television, you guys solidify yourselves as premier opponents right off the bat. You're easily making all kinds of high-level stuff, sausage out of everything possible, winning challenges, getting lauded by the judges. I mean, everything that you want to do to make sure you're moving on to the next 24 hours and the next 24 hours, you seem to be doing. I guess, was there anything that you can talk about that stumped you initially? Because what we're seeing from a finished side appears to be like, oh, we got it again. We got it again. Right in our wheelhouse. We don't know what's TV magic and then like what's real life.
Well, I think that the judges on a couple of them you saw when we didn't win and where we were on the bottom was we got to a point where we needed to slow down on showing technique, and it really became more about, okay, like let's think about how each component is really complementing the next, and we don't have to overdo it. Let's let the ingredients speak for themselves. So there was a like at the beginning, it was for sure like let's show them everything we got. But I feel like now you're going to be getting to the point where it's more about like being a lot more thoughtful of what we're presenting, and it's from the judges' feedback that you've been listening to over the last few shows. You know, we listen, and we're taking it to heart. And you gotta understand in these competitions, it's like it's very subjective. Like every judge has their own like taste and what they like and what they like to see and what they don't like, what they feel is overcomplicating or what they feel is original or what they feel is playing it safe. And when you start to really see that through the conversations and how they start picking the food apart, I think you get a better idea of how to cook for that judge.
Is there any
Absolutely.
Is there any time during that contest when you're getting that face-to-face feedback, knowing how accomplished that you guys are in the restaurant, and you're like, who the fuck are you? Tell me this is not good or whatever. You can take it? Not even a little bit?
We had incredible lows. Like we had some like, but the good thing about Connie and I's relationship, we usually take turns, right? Like Connie is like super dark and like really down, and that means I gotta be like Mr. Rogers, like you know, like, and bring her up, and we take turns at that. But there was a couple points where we were both kind of spiraling
in our heads,
you know, too much in our heads, and we had some really nice one-off conversations with some of the judges, and it really picked us back up. So, you know, it's
the hardest challenge to date was last night's episode, though. Like the core four, the barbecue challenge was the hardest. And for us, like when the judges throw a challenge at us, the hardest thing is how we interpret it. Because like John said, in the beginning, we're really wanting to show our barbecue POV and what our style is, and show them all the different technique that we know as butchers. But it's so hard to know what the judges want in a challenge. Like for the barbecue challenge, it was apparent after the first couple, after we presented chicken, after we presented ribs, they just wanted to see true unsung barbecue heroes. Like we don't want you to interpret this. We don't want to see barbecue banh mi. We don't want to see you dressing up the ribs in whatever way. Like we just want to show us the meat. And when you get in your head too much as chefs and as pit masters, it's hard to see that vision. But there was a big cliffhanger at the end, and we're excited for the next episode.
The next episode's a good one.
Yeah,
we're looking forward to it.
I remember Tuffy Stone, so this was years and years ago when he had first gotten on the competition circuit before he got Team of the Year, like back in 2006 or something like that. So this is a classically trained chef, has gone on to be one of the most known, prolific competition barbecue cooks ever, super famous. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him or not, but when we were talking about his change from fine dining and his fine dining catering company into competition barbecue, his first story telling me back was, I signed up. I'm this classically trained French chef. I have these great restaurants. I was going to go down this weekend, kick everybody's ass, take that trophy, and it was going to be super easy. And the exact opposite happened, right? He showed up, he did all his French chefy shit, and he got his ass kicked. And he's walking back, licking his wounds, going, well, what the hell just happened here? So a lot of similarities kind of sounding like what you're talking about, but he made that
was us
change
last night
and found his way to find success in there. So glad that you guys are seeing kind of where the barbecue roots are, and it's not always about the chefy stuff. Well, there's nothing wrong with that either.
For sure.
And it's really humbling as chefs as well. And what you don't see, like a little bit of BTS, is that we were all actually kind of helping each other out. Like our neighbors were Christy and Susie, and John and I don't have a lot of experience cooking brisket on an offset. We cook brisket in our restaurants, but in much different ways. Cooking on an offset's completely different. And so we were over there asking them for tips, and they're happily exchanging with us.
Good,
So
do you know how to run? Do you know how to run a stick burner?
Oh yeah, we got one out back.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, live fire, no problem. Like, we have 15 years of live fire, like, incredible, crazy, whole animal. But again, like, the way that we look at barbecue is different. We look at it through the lens of a butcher, hunter, chef, and like, we don't look at specific, like, okay, we're all beef, we're all pork, we're brisket, we're pork shoulder, we look at a whole animal, and it could be a deer, it could be a moose, it could be a pig, it could be a cow, and then we look at all the different areas that you break down and how you cook what is live fire, what's direct coals, so it's just like
based on the tenderness,
and then we have the chefy parts where we look at like textures and
flavor
presentation,
profiles.
So there is like that's our style, and learning more about American style and how ingrained in the culture, whether it be from Texas or all over. It's really interesting to us how specific areas have different muscles or different cows or pork that they concentrate on, and then on the flavor profiles, and then the history behind it. So learning that over the last few years has been amazing, and actually getting to cook with some of the people that are the best at it in pit masters. Again, like Connie said, it's pretty humbling.
Yeah.
Connie, which of the four judges did you feel you had the most in common with?
I'd probably have to say Andrew, just because Ernie and Mo are like really Ernest, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just because they're like really pit master, like true barbecue heroes.
Yep.
But we couldn't really relate to them on like a chefy side, where Andrew was more relatable to us on the chef side. But
I wouldn't say us. This is you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
John will go next.
Don't answer for me. I have something totally different.
But I have to say that we learned a lot from all of the judges. Like they and a little bit more BTS too. They were very approachable and would allow us to ask them questions.
And when they saw us a bit down, they would come and bring us back up too. So it was good. Yeah, I mean, I liked Ernest because I felt like he understood what it was like being away from the restaurant, being an entrepreneur, the amount of work it takes, and like the passion you have behind the craft. And it just like for me, it was like he felt like the most relatable to me, and I just felt there was more of a connection there too.
Also a fine dining chef to begin with too.
Yeah. I mean, he has a great background, and it's very relatable to us and to how we grew up too. So,
all right, I have to bring this up because it's my paramount issue with competition.
Okay, better not be another
cooking.
cow thing.
Definitely not. It has nothing to do with that, but it does have to do with poultry. And ever since I've watched Hell's Kitchen Season 1 with my guy Andy Husbands, who has since been on the show a number of times, who undercooked chicken in Hell's Kitchen. And then I watch all of these competition cooking shows, and whenever there's chicken on the menu, one of these contestants is undercooking chicken. It happened in the first episode in Pitmasters where Leslie Rourke and her son undercooked chicken, got him booted out. And then it happened again twice last night in the chicken category where 2 turn-ins were undercooked, and I don't believe they even bothered eating that because they were afraid for their very lives. I continue to fall back on how can we be this great? How can we not cook chicken? And you have thermometers, and I understand it's Utah and this and that and the other thing, but I'm finding it harder and harder to buy in to the fact that people can't cook chicken right.
And I feel like I got to play both sides of it. I mean, just to give like a bit of perspective, like we're up for 4 days now. Like people are starting to get pretty loopy. The time of the day, it's hard to visually see the super bright pink chicken. It's the hail was coming down. It was cooling off those birds really quick. It was like throwing it in an ice bath. So I don't know. You know, I wasn't there to see the chicken. Hey, like I don't even know. Was it really undercooked? I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
You could use the offset cooker to use that to cook your chicken in there, right?
For sure. I mean, our chicken wasn't
your chicken was
undercooked.
fine.
Yeah,
there
our
were
chicken
many other
it was okay.
Well-cooked chicken.
It didn't sound like it was the best chicken for them, but it sounded like they had a real problem with the chicken.
I thought it was the best.
I thought it was really good chicken. I mean, we ate a bunch of that chicken. It was quite tasty, and our chicken was very good, but it was not undercooked. But again, like yes, I mean, if you cut it and you're going to see it raw, you probably should put it back on the grill.
All right, so let's take this one step further. If you guys realized we're out of time or we're not going to make it, and I got undercooked chicken.
Yeah, I'm not.
You turn in an empty plate, or will you just cross your fingers?
I would turn
and hope?
in an empty plate.
Really?
I would say you're not getting this chicken until I finish cooking it. Yeah, of course.
Okay, I've been on a lot of cooking shows, and that's not an option. So what I would have done is I just wouldn't have served those pieces. Not all of the chicken is going to be raw.
Yeah, throw the rest of the garbage that fell on the ground.
Yeah, or just like
it slipped off the cutting board.
The parts that they showed on TV that were raw were like the leg
thigh,
and
right?
the thigh. Yeah. So maybe just serve the chicken. But to John's
2 slices of breast.
Yeah.
Everybody is really exhausted.
Ground,
yeah, and people aren't making calculated decisions at this point. So in their defense,
it's hard.
Yeah,
I mean, I fear for everybody's safety going forward. Then,
well, I mean, that just gives you.
You're
all the
here,
more reason
so
to
I
keep
mean,
on
you've
watching
survived.
it.
But geez, I mean, I feel like
did
somebody's
all
going to
of
get
us-
sick.
Did all of us?
I don't know.
I don't know. You got to keep watching to find out.
You're the first set.
Well, and John and I haven't won any rounds of this Core 4 challenge. So we're shitting bricks right now.
Yeah, but who cares? You don't need to win. You need to survive.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah, and we didn't have the raw chicken.
What's your?
We were trying to add up the points. And
what's your money take at this point in the show?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I think we won a couple grand for the hot dog.
Yeah. That's right. The hot dog. Yeah, that's right. God damn it! You made a hot dog from scratch.
45 minutes.
My daughter was like flipping her shit. So you've never met a girl who's a glizzy gobbler more than my oldest daughter, and pro hot dog everything. Hot dog 8 meals a day.
I can live on them.
Yeah. And I was like, you got to watch. These guys just made a hot dog like out of thin air. And then won the challenge. She's like, "Oh my god, I wish I could have that hot." That was completely impressive, totally impressive.
We got some good compliments. It was definitely some deposits.
That was a highlight.
So I can't ask you like what happens next, obviously. So outside of the show, what have you run into, and what can we expect to see, hear, or read from you?
Well, we're really excited to tell you about our collaboration that we have coming up with some of the judges that are on the show have committed, and some of the competitors. But following the wrap of the show in September, we are going to be starting our own series of collaborations called Fire Table, which start in October of this year.
Nice.
And we're doing them at our restaurants, and we're inviting pitmasters and live fire chefs from all over the world globally to come and cook with us.
We got a friend coming from London. We have people coming from all over.
London. Who's the guy from London?
Can't tell you yet.
Really?
We haven't announced it.
Super secretive. Until they sign.
Did you invite that Greg Hastie's guy from Australia?
No, but
do you know him?
I'm about to. I am.
We'll call him up. I
Talk
bet
about
you have
live
friends
fire.
of friends.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, if you need suggestions or you need contacts, I just happen to know everybody. After doing the show for 20 years, I happen to know everybody in the industry.
Yeah, you sure do.
So now I can make intros if you need it. We have Connie DeSousa and John Jackson currently being featured in Pitmasters, the debut season on Food Network, which is every Monday night. So be sure to tune in and watch that, or you can get it on demand after the fact. Guys, this has been a complete pleasure. I appreciate you shouldering an extra 30 minutes pretty much of this interview, but from my estimation, well worth it. Hope you had a great time, and let's do it again soon.
Yeah, I just want to know where I pick up my $5 million.
Yeah, well, there's something you got to do first, and then I'll be happy to pay out.
Yeah.
So that's on you.
It won't be televised.
Take care, guys.
All right, guys, take care.
Bye.
There they are, Connie DeSousa and John Jackson right there. The website, by the way, is Charbar. What the hell did I put it? Charbar.com, I believe it is. Charcut. Okay, hold on. Let me dial it up. Charcut.com is the right one. So make sure that you visit that website. Go ahead and follow them socially. And, learn all about these great folks up there in Calgary, Alberta, if you didn't already know them. I was not familiar with them initially, but, man, they have become fierce competitors and show favorites of mine. And that's saying something because, unlike them, I knew everybody else that was on that show, and all judges have been on the show. Most of the competitors have been on the show. So happy to see them, happy to have this great conversation with them, and hopefully that you all enjoyed that as well. And that's going to do it. We're going to go almost top of the hour, 2 after. We're good. All the way back in the first hour, it was a quarterly visit from our cigar expert, Mr. Jonathan, from Two Guys Smoke Shop and Cigar Authority podcast. Then we had Robert Moss, and we dove deep on mustard-based barbecue sauce. And then the second hour was featuring Connie DeSousa and John Jackson, currently on the Pitmasters show on the Food Network, and still on it. So we wish them continued success. They're obviously off the show now. I have no idea what to expect in the weeks to come, but you got to tune in next week to see where the brisket falls out, because it was a to be continued. We are back on regular scheduled programming unless something else comes up. So we have a packed show. 3rd week already of August coming up next Tuesday. Wes Wright will make an appearance amongst other guests. What else do we have? Do we have a Susie and a Todd Bullock? We might. Oh my God, that's going to be great. So, how do I always leave you? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. And until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe, saying, Shalom! Shalom!
Hi, this is Bobby Rempe from Cleveland, Ohio, and you're listening to Barbecue Central.